Okay, so now that we saw how to raise your value, get the right mindset, hopefully raise your income. Now that you have 3 to 6 months of income saved, we're gonna see how to become an entrepreneur. And I built four different businesses in my life, and they were all successful because I applied a very simple strategy that I'm gonna share with you. So my first business was a network of door-to-door salespeople in Australia, and I earned around 50,000 euros. I mean, I saved. That was my profit. I saved about 50,000 euros in 1.5 years. So, yeah, I had 15,000 euros when I arrived in Australia. That's the money I had saved as an employee. And yeah, because I had a car and I was about to sell it, and actually it got stolen, right, where in front of my mom's place, where I grew up. Tough neighborhood again, I guess. And yeah, I got some money from the insurance company, which is less than I was hoping, but still was like 10 grand. So yeah, I had 15,000 invested this in my business, and when I came back from Australia after 2 years, I had like 50,000. Okay, so yeah. So that was my first business, and I did it just because I when I arrived to Australia, I did it as a job, and I saw that it was working, so I started finding suppliers, and we started selling. 1 month later, I had a car. I have five salespeople, and we started knocking on door and selling uh, you know, like paintings. So yeah. So my second business was a blog about making money online. So it wasn't exactly about making money online. It was a blog about self-help, and about like how to live a different life, like not I didn't want to go back to a corporate job after coming back from Australia. I had a blog that I was writing that no one was reading. Uh, I had put like some AdSense, Google Ads on it, and I had made, I think it was like €2.60 in 2 years. So I was like, oh, this doesn't work. You cannot make money online. But when I got back to France, I met some bloggers I was following online that were making money with their blog, like 500 to 1,000 euros per month. And I was like, I'm gonna start working full time. I actually declined a job offer for a very very well paid job because I was like, no, that's what I want to do. I wanna be free, and even if I make just 1,000 euros per month or 2,000 euros per month, I can still go to Thailand and live for cheap. That was my idea. I was crazy, but yeah, I started making money. It's a long story, but I invested half of the money I had earned in Australia to hire a marketing consultant. So for 24,000 euros, and he helped me build a course and sell it. So we made 10,000 euros. Um, like by running two live webinars. So it worked. Then I went to Colombia. This is where I met my future wife. And the following year, we did a launch that made 550,000 euros in sales in 2 weeks. So I know it sounds crazy, but yeah, that's how it is. Yeah, I had a lot of expenses, VAT, affiliates, the marketing consultant, video guy. We actually went to Rio, to Brazil, to shoot the videos for 3 days on the beach. It was crazy. And I got to keep like 120,000 euros, which was great. And yeah, I built up that business up to about 30,000 euros per month. But I also launched a blog about learning English. So that was in French. I took this blog to over 3,000 euros per month in revenue, which is nice, but it's not huge. But it was meant to be a passive business. So apart from creating the products, the sales pages, launching them, it was it was running on automatic. I had a follow up sequence when people were opting in on my email list on that blog that was converting, was making about, I think it was like half a euro per lead, but I was getting like 160 leads per day. So I was 80 euros per day, 100 per month. And then I had an assistant like running promotions on our email list, and that was bringing in an extra, 500 to 1,000 euros per month. So then I built, and I launched the blog about like making money online because I saw that some people were making money in this field. I launched the blog about learning English because I knew that obviously some companies were selling online courses. Were selling classes like how to learn English. Of course, it's a huge market. And I saw that there were some successful software companies. I was actually using a software myself. I was using Aweber for years, and I knew this was a big business. So we launched a software as well. Like I launched the software that I wanted for my own business. That's what we use today. We use System.io to sell System.io. We have our own System.io account, and it's pretty much the same features as all of our customers. And this business does today it's about $250,000 in revenue per month. Okay, so my advice is very simple: is just choose a business where there are already people running a similar successful business. And when you're a beginner in business, you're like, oh, okay, so I'm gonna get a brand new idea where there's no competition, so I will be successful. And it's absolutely wrong. It's like if you want to open a restaurant, you're not going to come up with a new cuisine, right? You're going to see what sells in your area, like maybe it's burgers, pizza, kebab, whatever, sushi. And then, you open you pick a cuisine, and you open your own restaurant with your own twist, like, you're going to choose the location, you're going to choose the name, you're going to choose the chef, you're going to choose, the menu. You can add your own twist, you can add value, So, but you're not going to invent a new thing. I remember in Colombia, I saw like, it was like a pizza cone, like an ice cream, but a pizza. I was like, that's a terrible idea, no one eats that, people just want regular pizza. It's been around for, a couple of centuries, and I think it's pretty good. I love it myself. So, why would you try to do something different? Just make a great pizza. You have so many restaurants in the world making, really good money. It's not an easy business, I will tell you more about it. But don't try to invent the wheel again. So the thing is that when you do this, it means that, okay, you're not going to have a revolutionary idea, but it means that then you have to be good at execution. It's very important. You cannot like not have a great idea and not be good at executing. You're gonna have to be good at executing. Okay, I'm just telling you, I'm just warning you because that's important. So these are the criteria to take into account before choosing a business. So first question, do you have enough money to fund it? Of course, if you don't have any funds, you cannot invest to launch a business. So what you can do, you can start by doing freelancing, by selling digital products where, you invest your time to build an audience, like an email list, and then you can promote some offers to this email list. So I'm an email marketing guy. I've been making a living out of email marketing for 10 years, so if that wasn't clear, now it is. So yeah, that's what I do. Everything I do online is to draw people to my email list, and then once people are on my email list, I will sell to them, okay? And I will sell heavily because, I really believe in my offers, and, I want people, I don't want tourists, I want people to convert into customers, and I want to move them up in my sales funnel. That's how it is. So the great thing with online businesses is that you don't have to have any funds. But if you want to open a restaurant, yeah, you're gonna need some money up front. Or if you're like I mean, you can sell physical products with drop shipping and then you don't need inventory. But in my case, in Australia, I needed like some money up front to buy some inventory, buy some gear, and buy a car, to go around and take the salespeople around. So the question is, can you add something to the market? Can you make a better product? Can you make a cheaper product that is good enough? It's not absolutely necessary to succeed, but these are good questions to ask yourself. Can you add some twist? If you open a restaurant, you have to really believe that you're gonna make the best hamburger in town, or the best pizza or the best sushi or whatever. You have to be passionate about what you do. So think about it. And again, it's not absolutely necessary. I'm sure some people succeeded. They didn't have, they didn't have an amazing product, but because, like for example, if you take a restaurant, because the venue is well located, there are a lot of, incoming visitors, then, they're making a good income. Like you see, for example, the very touristic spots. So I'm from Paris, and it's very well known that in Paris, if you go to, many places in the center, they serve like terrible food because they don't care, because they know that, tomorrow it's going to be another batch of customers or slash visitors, and they don't care, So yeah, the service is bad, the food is bad, it's expensive, and that's how it is. But I don't believe it's the right way to do business. I think that if you have some energy, if you believe in what you do, you need to strive to bring to your customers the best product at the best price, and over the long term it's gonna pay out more. So other questions that you should ask, and a very simple one that I think that people don't ask themselves, it's how do business owners in this industry live? It's so simple but so important. Like, are they making good money? Do they look healthy? Do they look happy? Like the restaurant owners, again, so you understand that I'm more into digital marketing than restaurants. But I think it's a good example because I'm always curious about the businesses, and like everyone, I go to the restaurant and I'm always curious about if they're making money, if they're successful, why they're successful. And everyone knows restaurants, and that's 15 years ago I thought, oh, maybe someday I will own a restaurant and I will make more money than what I do as an employee. And today I think that it's not necessarily a good idea. Like when I was dating girls, I remember that the ones that had a father who was a restaurant owner, they were telling me all the time that they would never see the dad. It's a lot of hard work. You can do it different. Actually, I will tell you about a customer of mine who's doing great. He was working 5 to 6 hours per week, and he was making 20,000 euros in profit per month. But I will explain to you a little bit more about how he did it, because I was super surprised. I always thought that restaurants were a terrible business. You can actually manage it and do great, but you have to have a different approach. So one question that you can ask yourself, like, is there recurring revenue? So again, read The Automatic Customer by John Warrillow. It's packed with concrete examples, like you can actually generate recurring income by selling flowers to businesses, by selling, pest control, like all kind of services or products. So a business with recurring revenue will usually sell for more. That's what you have to keep in mind. You have high margins. So digital products have pretty much 100% margins, and people just don't realize the importance of this. I'm going to tell you an example. The garment industry. So when you read the book Shoe Dog about Phil Knight, the founder of Nike, so it's very impressive because the guy was so passionate about his business. Like he was literally living his business day and night for like 30 years. And even though his business was growing like crazy, like, I don't know, close to 100% year over year. They didn't have any money. They didn't have cash because all the profits they were making, they had to order more and more and more and more inventory, plus, I guess, open like store locations. So it was crazy because they had to battle with banks all the time. They were like, 1 week away from bankruptcy. I mean, it was crazy. And he got so rich when they IPO'd. But I mean, that tells a lot about how tough this business is. And, I'm a big fan of Shark Tank, the TV show. I strongly recommend it to you. There is also The Profit with Marcus Lemonis. Both are very interesting. You'll learn a lot about businesses. And on Shark Tank, it's crazy because no one ever wants to invest in businesses that sell clothes, even Damon John, because they know that it is so hard. Because even if you're successful, you're not gonna make cash, okay? You're gonna just like keep spending all the profits to buy more inventory, and as soon as you have, a problem or sales are slowing down, then you're gonna be bankrupt. So it's a very tough industry. So other questions that you might ask yourself: is this business location independent? I mean, it's great. Like I have a customer, he's got some franchises, and he's very successful. And he was telling me, because like 3 years ago, we went back to Australia with my wife, and he was like, "Oh, you're leaving for a month." Like I could never do that, And in my case, like my company is 100% remote. I have over 30 people working full time. And, they work from their home, from a cafe, from whatever they want. But we don't work in the same place, which is great. I'm by myself in the office space that I bought. And, it's quiet. I can focus. I can come whenever I want. And I can travel whenever I want. It's crazy. Like I just literally take my laptop, put it in my backpack, and off we go, So does it require a lot of work? Of course, you have to take this into account. Can you scale the business? Can you scale it to, again, just look at your competition, When I launched System Ontario, I was like, okay, we're going to compete with companies who make 10 to 100 millions in revenue per year. So if we do a bad job, we're going to make 5 millions. And it's still going to be more than what I was doing. I was doing like 30,000 euros per month. So like, 400,000 per year. So 5 millions would be like 12 times more. So that was exactly my plan, So could you sell the business one day? That's the mistake I made with my first business in Australia. So I was making cash, I was saving like $5,000 per month. And I can tell you, I was feeling on top of the world. I was so happy. But then I realized that this business didn't have any value. So I couldn't sell it when I left. I was left with some inventory. So I shipped it from Australia to Paris by boat. And I sold a little bit of it, to local businesses and shops. But then I realized that this product was over in France, and I just sold the whole inventory to a guy online, like on the French Craigslist for 900 euros, right? So yeah, and this inventory, again, talking about inventory, I think that this inventory had costed me, I'm pretty sure that it costed me around 20 times this, like 20,000 euros. So you see that, the business where you buy some stuff and you sell it, it's tricky. You need some working capital, and what you buy, when you close down your business, you realize that it may not have that much value, right? So always keep this in mind. And what's the long-term vision? Is time with or against you? When I was an employee, and I worked as a sales rep, what happens is that I was actually selling I was trying to place engineers like in big companies, big banks and stuff, like they would contract our own employees, our own engineers. So in that company, I was like directly in touch with the directors, the owners, and these guys, they were like, hey, you have to absolutely to find a contract for Jean-Pierre because he's like 45. And I was like, okay, what's the problem? I mean, 45 is like 20 years away from retirement. And we're like, yeah, but like 45, you just can't find a contract, they're too old. I was like, whoa, that's not good. So I'm always trying to put myself in a spot where times plays with me, not against me. So I mean, it's the way I see things, but I think it's a great advice because if there are a few things we're sure about and time is gonna pass, that's pretty much certain. So yeah, better put yourself in a spot where the more time passes, the better you are. Like when you have an expert business, usually the more time passes, and the bigger your audience, the more products you have. So time plays with you. It's an ally. It doesn't play against you. So I found a few examples of good businesses. So selling online courses, I've been doing it for 10 years. So you can start with no investment. You just invest your time. It's a 95% profit margin. You just pay the payment processor fees. It's around 5%, 3 to 5%. I mean, people tend to overlook them, but they're there, so you have to take them into account. Of course, there is no inventory, so no need for working capital. You can automate your business, so you can set up some automatic email campaigns to sell on automatic. My blog about learning English was making, over $2,000 per month on automatic. And then you can have virtual assistants to run marketing campaigns manually on your email list. So that's what we do. I have some assistants, and like each week they set up some manual promotions. Okay. So you can definitely automate your business. So e-commerce, you have drop shipping where you don't have any inventory, so it's good. The downside is that drop shipping, you always have to find like new products, so you're always starting from scratch all over again. And I think that over time you're not really building any substantial value, so you should be very careful about that. But if you can make like 5, 10, 15, 20,000 euros per month in profits, then you can save money to invest for maybe to build a bigger business later, So there is Amazon FBA. So it's a different game. With Amazon FBA, you're selling on Amazon. And the key is to be on the top of the listings when people search for a certain product, right? So I've met two French brothers who went from 0 to 4 million per year in revenue, exactly like this. They told me they had like different items, and again, because they were actually, so you have to buy inventory. They were actually reinvesting all their money to enter new categories, to like find better suppliers. I mean, it's again, you're selling physical products, so you need to be aware that you're gonna need working capital. You're gonna need to reinvest your benefits to buy inventory. So it's it is how it is, but yeah, it can work great. So of course you have software creation. So again, recurring revenue usually brings higher valuation, and it's no secret. Like if you look at the companies, like you cannot. I might be wrong. I think that you cannot buy anymore like office from Microsoft, like you cannot anymore buy it. You have to rent it. Like you pay like, I don't know, $5 or $10 per month, and you get to use it, And it's so there is a good strategy that you can use. It's a quick tip. So it's very tough to do software. It's definitely a lot harder than selling digital courses. I sure struggled a lot when I started to build system material, but uh, something that you can do is try to find like an app that is already generating a bit of revenue, maybe $500 per month, $1,000 per month. And usually you can buy it for $10,000 to $15,000. Okay. And if you can find an app that was developed so typically it's going to be a developer, right? So the guy knows how to develop, but he doesn't know much about marketing. That's not his thing. He's not really interested in this. So if you've learned about marketing, you can take over the product and actually, do a better job at marketing it, and you can, keep increasing the business. But the harder are the first sales. So if it's got some traction already, if there are some customers, there's definitely something that you can improve. When I was selling business coaching, I wasn't working with beginners. I was working only with people making at least 1,000 or 2,000 euros per month. And because I knew that, I could help them to grow their business. Whereas if they didn't have anything, I didn't have any lever, to use. So yeah, that's a great tip. You can look at niches that are overlooked totally, like Chrome extensions or add-ons for Gmail. I mean, you have some people making millions with WordPress plugins. I know like 3 French guys. They launched something called WP Rocket, and I don't know. I think today they must be doing about like 4 million in revenue per year. So it's totally doable. You just, again, you have to be smart, and you don't need like 10 good deals. You just need to find one good deal, one good opportunity to take you from employee to an entrepreneur, like if you want to go this way. So then you have franchise. So I'm not a big fan of franchise. I'm not gonna lie to you, because they're mostly stores, so you're a bit stuck, with your stores and your employees, and you don't have much liberty. I believe that you should find something you're passionate about, and you should be able to add your own twist. So obviously it's not the case with franchise, but I have a customer of my courses. He's got an online business, but mostly he's been very successful with the franchise. He owns 3 stores in Luxembourg. He's a French guy living in Luxembourg, and yeah, I mean, that was interesting, because I saw that, yeah, you could be successful, of course. I mean, you have many successful franchisees. So choose franchises that are growing, where franchises open a second or a third restaurant, because it means that the concept works. That's the advice he gave me. I think it totally makes sense. Again, it's just looking at what works and doing the same. So like, I know the last years in France, there were some growing franchises about like, taco. That's like the trending topic. But look at, what's working. Maybe don't open the 5,000 Subway store. Okay, I think that Subway is the franchise with the most stores in the world, and it's because I'm not saying that they don't care about their franchises, but it's really the franchises that take the risk. Okay, so they don't really care if the franchise is going to close after 2 or 3 years. And it's funny because I have a Subway store which is really not common in Portugal, that open right at the corner of where we live. And it's been 3 years and it's really struggling. So, I mean, it's just one example. It's not a rule. Obviously, some of them are are, I'm sure, very successful. But yeah, I would go with the, concept that has been around for less time, that's growing, and where you can see that franchises are successful and opening second and third locations. So once you have opened 2 or 3 stores, you can get access to bigger deals. So yeah, my customer in Luxembourg was telling me that he got offered some deals where he would actually run a franchise in a certain country, and he made some business plans, and yeah, it was big, but he told me that's a lot of work, and he's doing great. He's got 2 kids, and yeah, he chose not to do it, but yeah, you can definitely get like bigger opportunities. So um, and again, regarding the restaurants, so yeah, I will tell you more about, because he opened a restaurant. I mean, no, he bought a restaurant, and he was doing great. So I will tell you about it in the next chapter. But before we leave, very important, a final word about like acting like an entrepreneur. So first thing, done is better than perfect. In school they teach you to do something perfect, and it's fine. It's cool, but you're not in school anymore, and you're not sending rockets to the moon, so it's okay. You don't have to do perfect. Nobody's gonna die. You see that this course is not perfect. My business is not perfect, and yet we're doing like $400,000 in revenue per month. So yeah, cut corners, and don't try to do perfect. Just get things out there. There's a famous quote in the startup world that most probably you launched your product too late. And yeah, you can actually pre-sell your product even for software. It's pretty insane, but there are, some people have done it. So yeah, you can definitely do it. Don't You're in the jungle, with your machete, and you need to find your way. And it's by walking that you see the path, not the other way around. So you have to keep moving. You can call me old school, but keep your word. Pay what you owe. If you say you're gonna do something, do it. Again, most of the people don't do it. At least people say they're gonna do something and they don't do it. I like to keep my word and do it. I think that it makes me stand apart, and it's in the long term. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's gonna pay off. So you have to understand that you have to go from consumer to producer to creator, right? You look at the society, and most people are consumers. Like people watch TV. Who's making money? People watching TV or people making the TV shows? Of course, it's the people making the TV shows. The anchor men and women, the actors, the producers, the directors, all the technicians. These are the people making money because they're helping create the TV shows, right? So people who make money are the creators. And look who is making money online. They are people, like producing content, producing online courses, producing marketing, producing sales. You look at I told you about the copywriters, the high ticket closers. These are skills that you can learn in a matter of months, and you can start getting customers like, pretty fast online. If you're good, like, yeah, you will find customers, no worries. There are plenty of people looking for contractors, and it's not that easy to find people you can rely on. So yeah, you have to start adding value. So you have to start creating, can be content, marketing, you have many ways, like software, and make decisions. That's something that I learned when I started coaching customers. So I remember once with a customer, we were like, okay, should we do it this way or this way or that way? And I was like, okay. And I told my customer, we discussed it for, maybe, I don't know, 20 minutes. And I was like, look, we don't know for sure what's the best way to go. But I think it's this way, let's try this and see how it goes. And he agreed. And it's funny because like 3 weeks later, he told me, like he had, so I was like, okay, let's put, because on each of his blog posts, he was actually sending people straight to his sales page. I was like, okay, so the theory says, online, everyone says that you should build your email list. So instead of sending people straight to your sales page, why don't we put an opt-in form where we're going to ask people to opt in on your email list, right? In exchange of a gift. And he did that. He made that change and he set up a follow-up sequence. And like 1 month later, he told me, look, I'm making like, I think he was making like 3 sales for 30 euros per day on automatic. It was like 3,000 euros per month. So that was great, because before that he had made 12,000 euros in a year. So like, or maybe 15, 1,000-ish euros per month. But it was very, he made a big launch and then there was like not much afterwards. So it was very irregular income. So it was bringing him not only revenue, but like recurring revenue, kind of, So yeah, it was great. So make decisions, like choosing a niche. Most of the people who want to start an online business, they spend months at, okay, what niche am I going to choose? And my advice is, do some research, think about it, but after a couple of weeks, just make a decision, because no wizard is going to appear and tell you to do this niche or that niche, So at the end of the day, you need to make a decision. So just make a decision, and that's how you're going to find out if it was a good idea or not. Unfortunately, you can't know for sure. So you need to make a decision and start acting. So now that you took control of your time and that you have money to invest, it's time to go to the next step and become an investor.